It's Wednesday, October 8th, and I have 4 orders to ship out. Let's get to work. First thing is a massager right over here. This is a Vectrex percussion massager. It's got heat with it. I just picked this up, I think it was last weekend or the weekend before, for $5. I love picking these things up because they sell quick. You can usually get them for $5 or less. This one even had the extra attachments with it, and it was pretty clean. A lot of times these handles are just kind of destroyed and they're kind of gross looking, and when they're bad I just kind of pass on them. But yeah, keep an eye out for these massagers. Vectrex is a pretty good brand. There's some other better brands out there, and then there's obviously some crappy brands, and some of them go for big money, like $100 and up. You'd be really surprised. So if you come across these and they're cheap, at least spend a few seconds looking up and seeing what it's worth. This sold for $39.99, free shipping. Next thing's in D51. Let's see, right over here. This is a pretty rare Atari game called Pingo or Pingo. I got it in a bulk buy, and I've had it listed for, I don't know, a month or two. It took a little while to sell, but somebody finally bought it. There's a label you can see. And this is a perfect example of there's always an exception to the rule, right? So generally speaking, Atari games just don't have much value. They just don't. I'd say 99% of them just aren't worth more than $1. But obviously there's some rare ones, and this is one of them. So just keep in mind when you're out and about looking at stuff, don't just always assume something's not worth it just because every other Atari game isn't worth it, I guess. This sold for $59.99, free shipping. We're going to B61 next. This thing I have had for a while. I've had it so long that it was a item I did plus shipping on, and I stopped doing plus shipping on items a while ago. I just changed free shipping. So yeah, this has been, I don't know, maybe a year. This is an OEM charger with the box that charged the Genesis Nomad, the Genesis, and the Game Gear. I took a best offer on this for $21 plus shipping. Next thing is also something that I took a best offer on right up here. I'm gonna see if I can get this down with one hand. Look at that. Don't try this at home, boys and girls. I am a trained professional. I got this at a garage sale about a month ago. My friend Willie was having a garage sale, and she knows I resell. And she's like, you know, this is probably worth money. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was worth some money. She only wanted $25. I gave her $30, and I took a best offer of $90 free shipping, and I am just gonna weigh it, do the dimensions, and slap a label right on the box because it's got all the packing and everything in there. It's going to be good to go. I thought I'd show you guys really quick how I am packing this Atari game. So you can see I've bubble wrapped it, and I put a piece of cardboard around it. I keep scraps of cardboard for this very reason. And then the owner's manual I put in a poly bag, and I've got 2 pieces of cardboard. I'm going to put them right there, and I'll tape this all around, and then I'll put these 2 pieces in a poly bag, and it's going to be good to go. Sorry, not a poly bag, a bubble mailer. It'll be this one right here, one of my handy dandy eBay bubble mailers that I got from my quarterly shipping supply credit, whatever. I don't know why I can't speak this morning. It's Thursday morning. I've got 7 orders to ship out. First thing is in D51. Let's see, it's the Great Courses Learning French DVD only. I believe it's this one right here. Yeah, this one was doing the plastic part of that big media buy. I get less than 50 cents into it, sold for $14.99, free shipping. Going down to D62 next. I sold Communism and Power. I think it's a 2-piece. I don't think it's green. Let me see here. There's all kinds of stuff in this box. Lots of DVDs I listed. Let's see here. I guess I could have organized them a little better. That way when I made a sale, I could just pull it out easier instead of having to dig through this. There it is right there. I'll put this box back. This one's doing the plastic. I've got less than $1 into this one, and it sold for $24.99, free shipping. Next one's a video game system. This is the Channel F Fairchild. You guys saw me sell the Fairchild 2. This one's not worth as much, and the box is in pretty bad shape. This is part of that bulk video game buy. I probably got $30 into this. It sold for $100, free shipping. Going back down to D51, I sold, let's see, Thinking About Religion. It's book and DVD. This one right here. Just like the others, I got less than $1 into this one, and it sold for $19.99. Free shipping. Okay, last two came from the same buyer. First box is A31. It's Learning Java. Let's see here. I gotta move a couple things out of the way. Here it is, DVD and the guidebook. This one was a best offer of $23 free shipping, and the same buyer got something in B61. Latin 101. Right here, DVD and guidebook, and this one was the best offer of $33 free shipping. So yeah, not too bad. Same buyer, one package, $56 free shipping. And last but certainly not least, I sold the Panasonic TV VCR combo. You guys saw me pick this up, I think it's been about a month ago now. It was an estate sale. I found it in the basement. He sold it to me for $5, and I was like, do you have the remote? And he's like, it might be somewhere in the house. So I went looking and hunting, and sure enough, I found it. So I gave him a few extra bucks. I've got $8 into it total. It's sold for $259.99 free shipping. And you're probably asking yourself, how in the heck are you going to pack this thing? And that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. All right, so here's the plan with this TV. I've done this method with about 10 or so TVs, and so far I haven't had any of them arrive damaged, knock on wood. But what we're gonna do is take a piece of cardboard and cover the screen. I'll probably measure it so that it just covers this whole front, because we want to protect this and protect the buttons and everything else. So we're going to do a piece of cardboard, and we're going to do painter's tape all around, top, bottom, protect the screen. And then I got this heavy duty medium box from Lowe's, and this full-size foam mattress topper. I normally get a twin size, but I wanted a little bit extra filling on this one. So let's get to work and get this thing packed up. All right, we've got the TV in. We've got a lot of the mattress pad in there, filled all the gaps, and when we lay this down, you can see there's still some space. So I'm gonna cut up the rest of this, fill in all those gaps, and this thing will not move at all. All right, it weighs 31.5 pounds, and the box measures 18 by 18 by 16. So let's go see how much this is going to cost to ship. All right, I've got a post-it note blocking the buyer's information, so we should be good. I listed this for FedEx Ground Economy because I knew that would probably be the cheapest, and I knew it would take the longest. So I wanted to set that expectation for the buyer of, you know, this is what you're getting, but if there's a cheaper option, we can, you know, do a little bit better for them. Okay, so it looks like FedEx Ground Economy is $33. FedEx Home Delivery is $25.62. Let's see, just for good measure, UPS Ground is $42.72. USPS Ground Advantage is $90. Yeah, it looks like FedEx Home Delivery is going to be the best option. And going to Texas, I can ship a TV to Texas for 25 bucks. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. And we will, of course, buy insurance. All right, so I broke down all the expenses for this thing, and I thought I'd show you guys. Gross sale price, $259.99, minus $8 was the cost of the item, minus $4.50 for the insurance, the shipping insurance, minus $25.62 for the shipping label. The box that I got from Lowe's cost $4.11 after tax. The mattress foam topper after tax was $18.62. You can get the twin one. The twin one is like $12.44 plus tax. So if you want to save a little bit of money, if you think it'll fill the box okay, then you can do the twin. I've done the twin a bunch of times. I used a lot of packing tape, so we're just going to say $2 for packing tape. I used a good bit of painter's tape, so we'll say $1 for that. Then the eBay fees were $26.71. So our net profit for that TV is $169.43. Not too shabby. By the way, you might have noticed there's a lot of extra boxes in all the nooks and crannies. There's a lot more boxes in here today than there were yesterday. Look at this. I mean, like, top to bottom full. That's because my buddy Greg hooked me up with a ton of boxes. So, Greg, if you're watching this, thank you, buddy. I truly, truly appreciate it. I wanted to point that out because if you are a reseller, you need to be telling everyone you know that you're a reseller and that you can reuse boxes. Your friends, your family, your grandma, your dentist, everybody. Post it on social media, like, I'll take your boxes, especially now the Q4's here. Everybody's gonna be doing Christmas shopping. There's gonna be boxes galore. And, you know, instead of people throwing them out, they can give them to you, and I'm sure they'll be happy to do it, and then you're not having to pay for boxes. Don't just ask for boxes. Ask if they've got stuff that they don't want anymore, you know? Like, put your name out there, let them know what you do, and you will get so much inventory that way. I promise you. Like, really shout it from the rooftops that you're a reseller to anyone and everyone you know, and business will just come at you in waves. I guarantee it. It's Friday morning. I had 12 orders to ship out, and I also have the GoPro to ship out. If you guys were watching the video on my Cincinnati Picker channel, you saw that I did a GoPro giveaway for this GoPro Hero 3, and that's because Eugene sent it back to me to give it away. So I gave this away 6 years ago. Eugene won it and used it for a while, and he said, I'm not reselling it anymore. Sent it back to pay it forward to give it to somebody else. So we did a giveaway, a drawing, and Alex won it. So Alex, congratulations, you are getting the GoPro, and I will get it shipped out to you today. Okay, on to the orders. I sold this Small World rhythm clock. Let's see how thick this is. This is a big one compared to some of the other Seiko Melodies and Motion. This one I got at an estate sale. I think it's been, I don't know, 6 weeks ago maybe. I'm bad with time. I paid 25 bucks for it. It's sold for $199.99 free shipping. Going up here to D22 next. Here is the overflow of these Carhartt sweatshirts. These are selling faster and faster as the cold weather's coming in. 2XL size, sold for $29.99 free shipping. Sold the snare drum. I just picked this up. Let's see, what is today? Friday? I got it Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. Losing track of my days here. I got this from Josh from Mojo Casher. You guys have seen me buy a bunch of stuff from him over the years. This is a vintage 1960s Slingerland. There's the badge right there. Slingerland snare. It's got like a really neat gold speckle finish. Condition on this guy isn't great. There's, you know, a little bit of wear underneath. I mean, that's just the head. You know, that's just something you can replace. But overall, I don't know, like a 6 out of 10. You can tell some of the mechanics underneath there are a little bit rusted. I don't know how well the camera is conveying that. But yeah, it's been well loved. I think it's been sitting for a while. So max value if this thing was like mint, $250 to $300, but in the condition it is, I took a best offer of $175 free shipping. I sold a Longaberger basket. A lot of big orders today. I'm going to be spending a lot of time packing stuff. This one right here, this is a doozy. This thing's pretty big. I got this at a garage sale. I think it's been about 2 months, maybe a little bit more than 2 months. I got a bunch of them there. She had, I want to say about 10 or so baskets that I bought, and they were all pretty cheap. They were all pretty much like $5 or less. So that's about what I've got into this one. Pretty cool. It's got the liner. It's got these, what are those, cranberries or whatever. I had this listed, I think, for like $60 or best offer. Somebody sent me an offer of $50 free shipping, and I accepted. Okay, next thing is a small. I sold this Commando 7800 Atari game. part of a bulk video game buy from a while ago. I've probably got 20 bucks into it. This sold for $99.99 free shipping. Another thing as C41, this Dogma special edition. This is also something I got from Josh in that big lot of stuff. This one sold for $17.99 free shipping. I guess I could have just stayed in C41 because I'm pulling another thing too. Let's see. I got two Great Horses things going to the same buyer. The first one is History of Ancient Egypt. Right here, it's the DVD and guidebook. And these sold for $24.99 free shipping, and they bought a second thing too. In D62, it is Alexander the Great and the Macedonian Empire. I think it's these right here. Yeah, these two. And these sold for $17.99 free shipping. I sold a vest. Let's see, D42. This is a North Face fleece vest. I got this at a garage sale. It's been about 3 months, I think, that I've had this thing. And I figured it would take a little bit of time to sell because I found it in the summer. And, you know, for the most part, people aren't buying vests and jackets and sweaters and stuff in the summer. But I got it for $5. North Face fleece vest in pretty darn good condition, and it's sold for $29.99 free shipping. All right, back to C41. I could have just pulled all these at once, but you know, it's more fun this way. I sold this Rock Band dongle. This is in that lot of stuff I got from Josh. Be on the lookout for these things. The Guitar Hero dongles, the Rock Band dongles. They have good value because they got lost. A lot of people lost them, and there just aren't as many of them out there. And you need them to play wireless, and people like playing the wireless. This one sold for $29.99 free shipping. All right, I sold another sweatshirt. I didn't realize I sold two. Same as the other, 2XL, same price, $29.99 free shipping. And I also sold a jacket. This jacket right here, I picked up at a garage sale about 3 months ago. This is a Cincinnati Reds. It's a starter jacket, and it is the Diamond Collection. If I can open this up here. Authentic MLB. There we go. That's what I was trying to show you. Authentic MLB Diamond Collection. And it's satin. Just got a cool look to it. I think I listed this for like 70 or best offer. And I took a best offer of $58 free shipping. Since I've sold a few pieces of clothing, I think this is a good time to talk about reselling clothing. Almost every reseller that I meet falls into two different categories. They either sell clothing exclusively and they just do tons and tons of clothing, or they don't want anything to do with clothing and they never sell clothing. Personally, I'm somewhere in the middle, and I'm gonna make a case for you to open up the thought of selling clothing if you've never sold it before and maybe just like had a lot of reservations about, you know, what it's really like or how much work is involved or whatever. Now, a lot of the things that you hear clothing resellers say are completely true. It takes longer to sell clothing. It is definitely long tail. There's more work involved. You got to do some measurements. Sometimes you got to run it through the laundry or whatever, but you don't have to do every single possible thing to make something sell. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you can take the easy route for clothing. You know, you can only buy pieces that are perfect. You know, look for stains, look for zippers not working, whatever, you know, buttons that are missing. If it's got an issue, don't buy it. You know, that's pretty much my approach to clothing. Like, if it's going to be a project piece, I'm not going to do it. Who was it? Is it I think it's Surf's Up Finds that says I look for profit, not projects. And I know he does clothing. And as far as listing it and more work involved, what I personally do is I measure pit to pit. So basically, you know, the chest, you're measuring armpit to armpit. Then I measure shoulder to the bottom hem. Those are the two measurements I put in every piece of clothing, besides the size, obviously. And that's it. And what I do for my pictures, I've only been in this space for a couple months, so my picture setup for clothing isn't like the end goal of what I want it to be yet. But for now, I just have a nail in the wall, and I just put it on a hanger and I take a picture, and it does a pretty good job. eBay has something in the app where you can remove the background. It's hit or miss on how well it works. But yeah, I'll show a picture on the screen here of one of the pieces of clothing that I've listed and show you guys what the picture looks like just with like a gray wall hanging on a hanger. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. It could be way better, definitely. But I think it's good enough for the buyer to like get a good shot of what it is and make the sale, and I can improve upon it over time. You know, I can get a flat lay or something else. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but I say all that to say that if you've never sold clothing but you are an everything seller like me, just give it a shot. You know, there's a lot of people you can learn from that will teach you what to look for with clothing, because you're just going to add another feather in your cap when you're at the thrift store, when you're at garage sales or whatever, to be able to find something to make profit on. And the more opportunities you give yourself to find something to make money on, the more money you're going to make. Check out this Frankenbox masterpiece. I had every intention on double boxing the small world clock, but I didn't have 2 boxes that were the right size to double box it. So what I did was I put a piece of cardboard on the front, the face that had the glass. It might have been plastic, but anyway, I wanted to protect the face, so I put a piece of cardboard on that. Then I bubble wrapped it all around and I wanted to do something that would have the effect of a double box, even though I don't have 2 boxes. So I took a bunch of my cardboard scraps, you know, the long flaps that I'd been cutting off, and I created this masterpiece. Isn't it beautiful? Honestly, if I was the buyer and it showed up like this inside another box and it was packed well like this, I mean, like to protect it anyways, and it wasn't damaged, I wouldn't care. Like, it's gonna go in another box, it'll show up nicely in this box. So it is what it is, but I just thought I'd show you guys, you know, sometimes you just gotta create the best that you can do to protect the thing. I'll pay to insure it as well, but yeah, I really wanted to spend some extra time. I spent like 20 minutes creating this monstrosity. I just wanted to make sure that it's packed well enough so that will arrive safely. Well, I was done packing orders, but I just got another sale. And since it's Friday, I'm just going to go ahead and pack this up and ship it now, because I don't ship on Saturdays. And if I don't get it out now, they're going to have to wait until Monday. So I'd rather just go ahead and get it shipped out. This is a Vectrex 3D headset with paperwork. It was in that big bulk video game buy I made. I got about $100 into it, and it's sold for $450 free shipping. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.